Today, the Supreme Court of India is going to deliver an important judgment regarding the same sex marriage in India. Actually, the current position is that the same sex marriage concept is not a legal concept in India. So, the matter went to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court, after prolonged hearing, they reserved their judgment on 11th May, and now today the Supreme Court is going to deliver the reserved judgment. So we will be looking forward about the judgment, and also we will be trying to analyze the issue with the ethical angles associated with it. And remember, this is going to be a very important topic with respect to the society, Indian society. Okay, because when we talk about Indian society, there are two perspectives that prevails regarding the marriage. One is the dominant perspective that should be like marriage is basically between the heterogeneous community, like between the male and female. Okay, and the another concept which is emerging now in the recent times is basically related to the same sex marriage. What do you mean by same sex marriage? It is basically marriage between the two people having the same gender. That is the basic idea behind it. So we will be trying to analyze the basic evolution of these type of issues and the ethical angles associated with it, and in the coming times. Okay, so hello and welcome you all. Today is 17th of October, and we are going to discuss the daily Hindu newspaper analysis. Okay, and before starting our discussion, if you haven't subscribed our channel, if you are new to our channel, please do like, share, subscribe. And also the discussion should be participatory in nature. If I ask you some of the questions, please try to answer. Okay, so that your other discussion related ideas should emerge from the mind. Okay, and that should be reflected in the text, because actually you are going to write for the mains as well as going to write for the interview basically. So you have the emergence of idea, and that should be properly communicated to the panels. Okay, so that is the basic idea. There should be the participatory nature of the discussion. So now in today's article we are going to discuss about three important editorial. Okay, the first one that I had already discussed the context about the same sex marriage issue. So today we will be highlighting the basic overview of it, and in the coming time we will be analyzing in a detailed version. Okay, because the judgment is still pending while I am recording the video, but after the judgment is declared we will be analyzing into it with various dimensions like ethical dimensions, societal perspective. Okay, from the perspective of the government, all of that we are going to analyze. Okay, and the second article will be related to the Indian Himalayan region needs its own environment impact assessment. You know that environment impact assessment is basic tool to analyze the impact of any project on the environment that may have bigger ramifications on the environment, on the ecology. So do you understand that Indian geography is actually not equal in terms of the features? Okay, on the one side we have the Himalayan region, on the another side we have the plains, on the another side we have the plateaus. Okay, so when we talk about the Himalayan region, it is actually very much vulnerable, very much ecologically fragile. So the project which are getting to be launched there, like any industrial project like dam project or anything, so there is a need to have a proper analysis of that geographical applications and the impact, because you should distinguish between the region of Himalayan and the region of other specifically. Okay, so that we should have a correct analysis of the environment impact assessment, and based on that the policy, the projects should be implemented there. Otherwise you are seeing that the disasters which are coming, and you can relate with the human aspirations that are growing on in the Himalayan region in terms of the infrastructure, road connectivity, anything we are seeing now. Okay, So we will be analyzing via this angle. And the third article will be related to the long-term risks of artificial intelligence. We do talk about the significance of the artificial intelligence in the coming future, like it can have the role in biotechnology, medicine, the space sector, okay, and in the society and in the communication, and many more things we cannot predict now. So there is a risk associated with this, okay, because any technology have its own benefits and the harm. So we are focusing on the benefits, but we are not looking at the harms or the risks that are going to arise by the domination of artificial intelligence. Think that artificial intelligence is basically becoming equal to the human intelligence. What the risks can be associated, you can also refer to some of the movie associated with the artificial intelligence. You can definitely have seen the movie Robot, okay, the film by the Rajnikant, okay. So this is the examples of the havoc that may created in the future if the artificial intelligence gets the intelligence of the human. So that is the point we will be discussing via all these angles. So now we start our discussion, but before that, we try to attempt some of the questions. So today's question is about the same-sex marriage, because this issue is going to rise and that can become a very important question for the mains as well. So I am giving you the question, okay. So same-sex marriage is a contentious issue that has been the subject of much debate, and the legal battles in India give you arguments for and against the issue. So here the question is basically not so much analytical. You have to certainly tell about some of the basically overview, and then you have to go to about the favor and disfavor, okay. So try to solve this question, and let's we try to provide you the overview of this topic, same sex marriage. So what is the context here? It will be covered under the topic GS paper 1, that is the Indian society. So Supreme Court is going to deliver verdict on the legality of the same sex marriage in India, okay. So today we will be waiting for the judgment. So what is the basically context that went to the Supreme Court, and what is the response by the petitioners? So we will be going to discuss all of that. So the 5-judge constitution bench was set up for hearing of the plea for the legality of the same sex marriage, and it was headed by the Chief Justice basically cjidychandrachud, okay, and other judges. You can see the pictures of other judges as well. So the hearing on this matter was about 10 days, and the Supreme Court and the Constitution bench heard all of the pleas and the matters and the issues associated of all that. And after the prolonged hear, they reserved their judgment on 11th of May, and now today they are going to release their judgment, and we will be seeing that judgment in the coming times, okay. So the issue of discussion was that whether same-sex marriage in India should be legalized in India or not, okay. And remember that in the US, okay, recently the Supreme Court of the US had legalized the same-sex marriage. So that's why the matter was in more discussion in India as well. So the matter went to the Supreme Court, and what was the petitioner's argument, who was basically recommending for the same-sex marriage legalization? So during the course of hearing, the petitioner said that India is a marriage-based culture, okay, and the LGBT community that we call as a lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender, so these couples should be granted the same rights that has to any heterosexual couples, okay, like the right to have a status of a spouse in the finance and the insurance, along with the right to have an inheritance of the property, along with the succession decisions, and even there should be a right given to them regarding the adoption of the child, along with the surrogacy matter. So basically the petitioners trying to argue based on the principle of right to equality to the marginalized sections. Here LGBT community, you can refer them as marginalized sections. Okay, and that's why they wanted that their interest should be protected and promoted based on the principle of equality, which are enshrined in the fundamental rights of our constitution. So that was the basic point of origin and the decision that went to the Supreme Court, and now Supreme Court is going to deliver on this judgment. So what is the present status of same sex marriage in India? Actually, it is not legal currently, and it will become legal or illegal. We are going to see over the judgment that will be coming today. So same sex marriage, as we earlier said, that it is a legal union between two individuals of the same gender, and in India it is not legally recognized. But here you have to understand the government response as well, because the legislation regarding the same sex marriage is going to be made from the parliament. So we should have a better understanding that what the government thinks about this issue. So Indian government basically opposing the recognition of the same-sex marriage in India, or simply saying that giving the legal recognition to this. And even they said that any change in the human relationship should come from the legislature, not from the court. So you are seeing that the government is basically not in favor of legalizing the same sex marriage, and that's why that matter should be basically safeguarded in the hand of parliament rather than the court in giving the legality of this issue. So that is the basic funda we have discussed. Hope you understood the basic context, and now we will be shifting to the another article, and you can try to solve the question that we have provided you in the initial discussion. Okay, so that this can basically open up your thinking capacity regarding what is the ethical angle, what will be the societal perspective, what will be the perspective of the minority sections, marginalized sections. Okay, so here you have to bring out various stakeholders associated with it and try to think their stakes involved in that, like their challenges. Okay, so you can easily answer the question. So now we are shifting to the second editorial, and the second editorial is related to the GS paper 2, and it will be covered under conservation environmental protection. And this article is very basically good. Okay, and you will enjoy this article, and there is a very good perspective given that we have the various different geographical features. Okay, and because of that we cannot treat them in the same line. Okay, why we cannot treat them in the same line? It is actually because the Himalayan region is the most vulnerable region. Why? Because of the seismic activity. Okay, because of the events of landslide, the flash flood. Okay, we seize. So any projects which we are trying to launch in the Himalayan region, there is a need to have a deeper inspections as compared to the projects which we try to implement in the plains region or in the plateau region. Okay, because these regions are a little bit stable as compared to the Himalayan region. So there is the concept that we should have a proper and deeper analysis of the environment impact assessment in the Himalayan region, and the notification EIA notifications do ignores this issue. Okay, that's why we are seeing the vulnerability in the Himalayan region in the form of disaster, they are getting rising. So that is the point we need to understand, and the basic idea I had given you to this article. Okay, so recent incidents like we have seen the Tista dam breach in the Sikkim, along with the flash flood, along with the floods and landslides which was going in the Himachal Pradesh, and this caused havoc, this caused disaster. Okay, infrastructure loss of the people, property loss. These all were the images and the videos which we were seeing continuously. Okay, so that is a stark reminder of the havoc of our developmental model, that what the developmental model we are proposing in this region, that is basically challenging the nature. And if you challenge the nature will challenge you. That is the basic funda. Okay, so these are weakening our environment and ecology, and whether this problem was contributed by the nature itself or whether there was a contribution from the human factor. So that needs to be analyzed, and how we can analyze it is basically via the tool of environment impact assessment. So via environment impact assessment, we try to analyze the projects which we are going to implement in the region, what will be its repercussions for the environment, for the society, for the people, for the biodiversity. So these all dimensions are basically getting analyzed with this. But for analyzing all these, the parameters, the data, that needs to be real, holistic. Okay, so that is the point. So when we talk about the historical evolution of the environment impact assessment, why this concept of environment impact assessment arose? It was all because the excessive growth of human intervention in the nature. Specifically, you can see that after 1970s, the concerns regarding the environment was going on. Like we have various initiatives, organizations regarding to the environment protocols, which was in the series during this period. So the discussion started in 1970s that we should have a proper analysis of the project with respect to the angle of environment and the ecology. Okay, and the concept of EIA, environment impact assessment, is basically based on the idea of cause effect relationship. Like in the physics, chemistry, we see the cause effect relationship. Okay, whenever there is a action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So when we talk about the any projects which we are going to launch in any region, so definitely there will be a cause that we are implementing a project, so there will be a effect. But in terms of the project which is subjective in nature, meaning that the effect will be in multidimensional. Okay, the effect will be in terms of societal aspect, in terms of the environmental aspect, in terms of the biodiversity aspect, and many more things. So definitely there is a need to have a proper analysis of the project that are going to affect the environment. So when we talk about environment impact assessment, it is basically a tool to identify the environmental, social, economic impacts of a project before it is getting implemented. And you can write the definition. Okay, because when you write the definition in the form of like as per the United Nations Environment Program, that means the answer richness becomes much more elaborative. Okay, so that is the basic things you need to understand. And based on the environment impact assessment, it compares various alternatives, analyzes all the possible environmental repercussions, and to provide appropriate mitigation strategy. Okay, whether the project is very much harmful, so if there is a more harm, then try to apply the alternative solutions. Okay, so these are the basic overview of the evolution of the environment impact assessment. Okay, now when we talk about the evolution of environment impact assessment in India, so basically the world was on the view of environment impact assessment, like we have said, in 1970 onwards. So in India also there was a discussion that we should have a proper analysis of any project that we are launching, specifically the bigger project which are going to have a very impactful on the environment. Okay, so initially we did not have the concept of environment impact assessment, but before EIA we were having the indirect planning, indirect features of getting the projects to be analyzed with respect to the environmental angle. Okay, like the planning commission in 1976-1977 directed the Department of Science and Technology to assess the River Valley project. You can understand that when we talk about River Valley project, that means there can be a dam construction. Okay, there can be shift of the population, there can be a deforestation. Okay, there can be the loss of biodiversity. So many angles are associated. So whenever these type of projects comes, then definitely there is a need to proper analyze it. So before the concept of EIA come in India, we have the indirect analysis of the environmental impact. Okay, but you can understand the revolution came when the concept of EIA was introduced in India. And when it was introduced, actually it was in January 27, 1994, where first EIA notification was promulgated. And remember, the concept of EIA was mentioned in the Environment Protection Act 1986. Remember, this is very important for the prelims. So if any question arises that the concept of EIA is getting powered from which act, so actually it is Environment Protection Act 1986. And after the notification of EIA, it ensured that there is the need of mandatory approval of environmental clearance for some of the projects like mining, like dam construction, okay, like extraction of the resources from the ground, because these have very environmental concerns. So after that, we have the amendment to the notification of environment impact assessment in 2006 to incorporate the dynamicity. So here, via this amendment, there was insertion of various categories of projects and enabled a decentralization of the process of the environmental clearance. Now, what do you mean by decentralization? Meaning some of the projects which was categorized was given to the state that you should declare whether the environmental clearance should be given or not, and some of the projects were kept to the center for the approval. So that is basically meaning the decentralization of the process of environmental clearance, and these keywords you should definitely remember. Okay, and only projects which was enumerated in the schedule attached to the notification was requiring the prior environmental clearances. Not all the projects requires environmental clearances. If you have read the basic about the environment impact assessment, then you should know that there are certain projects which are categorized in the schedules, and if they qualify to have conduction of environmental clearances, then the environment impact assessment will be done, otherwise they are left. Okay, so that is the basic thing. And now there was again the recent amendment which was going to be occurred, but now it is in the draft stage. That also is basically pro industry and compromising the ecological concerns. But you should remember what the article is trying to say. We have talked about all these evolution of environment impact assessment, but there is a very critical issue that was not addressed in these environment impact assessment notification. What was the critical issue? That we are not recognizing the Himalayan ecosystem as a separate ecosystem that are more ecologically fragile and environmentally vulnerable. So when we are talking about EIA, that means there is a need of a special care to this region. So the need to have a better evaluation, okay, better protection. So that is the point which was not addressed in the EIA, whether it is EIA 2006, whether it is EIA 2020, which are going to be coming. Okay, so that is the point. So there are flows in the EIA, and first flow is like the threshold limit. Okay, threshold limit, when we're talking about like there is a limit that there is a project which are going to come in any region of India, whether it is in the Himalayan region, whether it is in the plains region, whether it is in the region of south. Okay, so all will be treated equal. Okay, but that is not a good approach. Okay, that is the point which has been highlighted in the threshold limit. So there is a need of a special needs of the Indian Himalayan region. And why? Because of the region's vulnerability and the fragility. Okay, and even the draft 2020 notification basically ignored the treating of Indian Himalayan region as a different with respect to the other region. Okay, so this is also the problem, and there is a flow in the graded approach. So when we talk about the Indian regulatory system regarding the environmental impact assessment, the system follows a graded approach. A graded approach simply means like we will be having differentiated risk management approach depending whether the project which are going to be initiated is coming up within a protected area or the reserve forest or the national park or a critical tiger reserve. So if a project is in the protected forest or the reserve forest, that means the more tighter regulations and the scrutiny of the project is going to occur. Okay, then the project which is getting to establish in the normal region. Okay, so that is the point. But even the graded approach also ignore the differentiability of the Indian Himalayan region. Okay, you can see that the graded approach for the differentiated risk management has been the Indian Himalayan region was getting ignored, despite the Indian Himalayan region is an area of immense ecological importance to the entire country. Okay, and why it is very important? Because it serves as water tower. What do you mean by water tower? Like it is a basically source of many rivers and the source of fresh water coming from the glacier. And if we are not able to protect them, that means the fresh water, the source of water will be getting vanished, and this will create havoc to our population. Okay, so that is the point, and that's why there is a need of a special care to this region. Okay, and when we talk about the vulnerability of the Indian Himalayan region, that we are seeing about extreme weather conditions like heavy rain, flash flood, landslide, and are seismically active. Seismically active, you are recently seeing that lots of earthquake are coming along this belt. Okay, and when I ask you a question, why this region is seismically active, can you tell me the geographical aspect associated with it? Now the second question is, why the region, despite having the earthquake zone, does not have a volcano here? So can we tell me the another region of this? So that is the question I am trying to ask, so that you can understand the various perspective of the geographical angle associated with it. Okay, and now the biggest challenge is going to affect the world is the climate change, and because of the climate change, the vulnerability to this region is also going to increase. Okay, like with the rise in temperature, the glaciers can melt. Okay, so despite all of the challenges that are coming in a more intense way, there is no mention of different sets of environmental standard for this region. So that is the point the article trying to highlight. Okay, treat this region with different perspective. Okay, by focusing more on this region regarding the environment impact assessment. So that is the point. So what are the actions that should be needed? First of all, the needs of this mountain could be addressed at all the four stages of the environment impact assessment. You know that EIA gets conducted in various stages: stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, and the name of stages are screening, scoping, public consultation, and appraisal. So all the aspects of the region should be addressed in all these stages, and there should be a provision in the notification of EIA that, let's say, Indian Himalayan region or any mountainous region which is above than a certain altitude will be having more regulations, okay, and more liability to the proposer of the project. Okay, so that any damage done via due to the implementation of the project, the liability should be in accordance with the burden. Okay, so that is the point. And there are also concerns like we do not have a regulator at the national level, despite the Supreme Court of India in 2011 suggested in the case Lafrage Umium Mining Limited that there should be a need of regulator with respect to this. Okay, along with it was further suggested in the Tamil Nadu Godvarman case to carry out an independent, objective, and transparent appraisal and approval of the projects. Okay, along with to monitor the implementation of the conditions which was laid down in the environmental clearances. So that was the point. But again, we are seeing that no regulator at the national level. So that is also the one of the concern, that despite we have the project assessment done, EIA assessment done, but who will monitor at a regular basis? Who will monitor the implementation? Okay, who will carry out the regulation in an independent, objective, and transparent manner? That is the point. Okay, so there are flaws also, like there can be a biasness in the project evaluation, like there is a concept that some project evaluation are done by the central government, some are done by the state government, but there are some projects where project evaluation are done by the project proponent. It may be company. Okay, so that means what? If the project evaluation will be done by the project proponent, that means there may be the a biasness. Okay, maybe the company had made all the suggestions in a positive manner. Okay, so that will affect the environment in more aggressive way. So that is the point. Also, the process does not adequately consider the cumulative impacts as far as the impacts caused by the several projects in the area, and even in many cases we see that EIA is simply done as a box ticking approach, like we have the like a set of instructions and you are ticking like yes, this is good, okay, and that means you got the environmental clearance. So that is also not a good idea. It should not be treated as formality. Okay, proper analysis, proper verifications need to be done, and also the policymakers would need to have a proper legislation regarding this, and they can consider about the strategic environmental assessment. And the strategic environmental assessment does not focus only on the sudden or the short impact of the project development, but also they consider the cumulative impact of the development. Cumulative impact meaning you are analyzing the impact in various dimensions, okay, with various angles. So that is the point, and that is the end of this article, and hope you understood. Now we are shifting to the second editorial discussion, that is related to the GS paper 3. Okay, so this topic is related to artificial intelligence. You know that artificial intelligence is becoming more and more utilizable by various company, by the persons, and it has very much applications in different dimensions. Even UPSC is also focusing on the asking questions about artificial intelligence, whether in the UPSC mains or the UPSC prelims, about the applications. So that means that definitely these topic is very much in discussion. And not all of that, you may hear that the Elon Musk, okay, they have made the artificial intelligence robot that can sense like human, that can speak like human, and that can perform work efficiently like human. So the world is getting towards the artificial intelligence, the world of artificial intelligence. But the question is, do the world is ready for the artificial intelligence? What happens if there comes the biasness in the artificial intelligence? Like in human, we have the biasness, we have the cruelty inside us. Okay, so if these emotions getting transformed into the artificial intelligence, who will be responsible? Okay, so that is the point, because artificial intelligence means what? That culminating the human emotions, human like emotions to the robot, to the machine. So the emotions can be both positive and negative. Let's say the emotion becomes negative to the artificial intelligence, what the disturbances they can create. Okay, so you should understand the proper long-term impact or the short-term impact that can cause in the coming future after the dominance of the artificial intelligence. So that is the point, and we will be discussing particularly the risks associated with it, because we have discussed lots of articles regarding the artificial intelligence positives. Like in today we have the certain best article that will be talking about the ramification, the negative impact. Okay, so when we talk about artificial intelligence, it is basically what? Giving the machines the thinking capability and act in an independent manner. Okay, and you can better analyze the concept of artificial intelligence if you have seen a movie called Robot, okay, or if we have seen a movie called Ex Machina. So you can also see these type of movie, and these are technological movie. You can get various perspective, ideas, the risks associated with it, and you can better correlate with these type of advancements that are going on. Okay, and there is a very good statement that has been quoted by the article. It is like risk is a dynamic and ever evolving concept. Okay, and the risk is susceptible to the shift in the societal values, meaning if there is a change in societal values, there will be a change in the risks as well. Along with, if there is change in technological advancement, there may be change in the risks as well. So what examples you can take? Like when we take about the technological advancement, okay, in earlier times we do not have the internet, we do not have the mobile devices or the smart devices. Today we are able to easily connect with the people, with the social media, with the internet. But remember that today sharing information becomes more risky because it may hurdle your privacy, it may cause you in danger. So that's why with change in the technological advancement there may be the change in the risks, and you can relate with the example before and after the digital era. Okay, and this may also be like a cam in the essay question. Okay, because this type of question may be asked in the essay, so try to remember this quote and try to explore the dimension of all of these. Okay, and so this highlights that there is a need to have a proper identification of the short and long term risks associated with the artificial intelligence. So if we try to analyze the risks regarding the artificial intelligence, so we can analyze in the two perspective, like short term risks or long term risks. Long term risks we are predicting, but what maybe the risks basically that are going to come and the time will tell. But remember that long term risks may be very much higher and may very much riskier. So like when we talk about the short term risks, let's say you have assigned a task to the artificial intelligence, like go and give the water supply connection and the electricity connection to the house, to the society. Maybe the artificial intelligence, after analyzing certain data, may not able to follow your judgment. Maybe they can follow the different judgments, so there can be a disturbances to the public life. And even you can take example of traffic signal. Let's say if the traffic signal is culminated into the system of artificial intelligence, meaning they are controlled by the artificial intelligence. So if there is a disturbances in the instruction signal processing, so that may create road accident. Okay, that is the biggest challenge that are going to come in the coming time. That is the point. Okay, so these are the short term challenges, but long term challenges are many much bigger. Even they may threat our existential question as well. So when we talk about some of the long term challenge, like if there is a amalgamation of artificial intelligence in the biotechnology, maybe the artificial intelligence becomes successful to manipulate the human emotions, the thoughts and the desires, and this will be a biggest challenge to our existence. Okay, and also our essential infrastructure, essential infrastructure like water and electricity. Okay, so there is a continuous electricity supply and the water supply is needed. So let's say the artificial intelligence had closed the connection, so what will happen? Okay, so that is the point that needs to be understood. And there are other challenges like runway artificial intelligence. When we talk about runway artificial intelligence, basically it means that the crucial systems that are running all over the world, that are maintaining the pattern. Okay, if that gets disturbed by the artificial intelligence, okay, like the alteration of chemical balances in the water supplies, okay, so that will also create disturbances. So that means the existential risks there may arise, and there may chances of leading to extinction as well. So basically when we talk about another challenge, it is like if there is a situation, let's say we are imagining that artificial intelligence have culminated into the intelligence of the human level, that means there will be a pivotal shift in the risks. Okay, because the artificial intelligence may do a series of actions or the activities that can surpass the human thinking. Okay, so that is the point, and that is the challenge associated along with the rapid pace of artificial advancement that we are seeing because of the pressure increased by the market. So these companies are often ignoring the safety consideration. That's why we are only talking about the potentials, the benefits, the applications, but we are not analyzing the long-term impact and the risks associated with AI. So there is need of global consensus on the regulation of artificial intelligence. Okay, and what we are seeing that this unified global approach to regulate artificial intelligence is not on the way. Okay, so that may cause a detrimental to the foundational objective of artificial intelligence, because these are very risky things in the coming future, because this can be utilized in the warfare, in the military, in the cyber crime, okay, in against the privacy, against the sovereignty of the nation. So if there is a lack of artificial intelligence governance and the unification of dealing with this challenge, that means the nation will go on its own way, and even they can challenge the ethical aspects, okay, the security aspect, the sovereignty aspect. So that is the point. But some of the nations, specifically the Western nations and the European nations, they are analyzing the impact and the risks associated with artificial intelligence. So they are trying to regulate the AI and the development in the various sector, and they are adopting the risk based approach. Risk based approach, it means like more is the risk, more will be the regulation, and the act name is European Union's Artificial Intelligence Act. Okay, so it is basically area specific approach, and if the risk is higher, that means the regulation will be more tighter. But this is a good idea, but not a perfect idea, because we need more holistic view of artificial intelligence, because it has a bigger ramifications on various dimensions as well. Also, there is a lack of absence, there is a lack of collaboration and cohesive action at the international level, and it will further deepen the risks. How it may deepen the risks? Let's say there is no collaboration of artificial intelligence or the artificial governance at the global level. That means some of the countries, let's say China, will become free to make anything with respect to the artificial intelligence, whether it is the defense product, military product, whether it is cyber product. Okay, and this may hamper the security challenge all over the world. Okay, and it is not only about China, there can be other countries as well. So if there is a presence of unified global approach and the collaboration and proper artificial intelligence governance, these challenge may get be prevented. So there is a need to have a unified global approach in dealing with the artificial intelligence challenge, and also these challenge may cause destabilization and conflict, along with undermining international peace and security. And what other ramifications can happen is that those nations which are promoting the safety protocols, those who are regulating the artificial intelligence, but by seeing these countries that they are not following, they may also try to get into the faster pace of the artificial intelligence development, and that can lead to the loosen regulatory framework. So that is the point. So these all are the ramification. But remember, let's say we assume that artificial intelligence is getting integrated into the military, into the basically defense. So the ramifications will be much bigger. Okay, the warfare amplifies the long-term risks, and the integration of artificial intelligence into the military basically does not have limitations. It can be integrated in different fields. So remember, the implications at the global level is going to be very dangerous. So there is a need to have establishment of global norms for the artificial intelligence in the warfare, and it can be achieved like we have did via launching and signing of the treaty on various topics like NPT treaty. We remember the Chemical Weapons Convention that deals with the hazardous chemicals. Okay, so there is a need to have a proper establishment of the global norms that can regulate the presence of artificial intelligence in the warfare. Okay, so that unlimited utilization of AI in the warfare should be prohibited, otherwise it will challenge the existence of the humanity, the world. Okay, and nation must delineate where artificial intelligence deployment is unacceptable. So where the AI is not needed, why we are integrated into that sphere. So there is a need to extract out from there and enforce clear norms for its role in the warfare. That is basically the summary of this article. Hope you understood, hope you enjoyed this article discussion. And if you are enjoying, please do like, share, subscribe, and join our Telegram channel for the PDF. Okay, so friends, today is basically over. We are seeing the judgment of the Supreme Court, and after that we will definitely make an article on this topic. So have a nice day, and try to write the answer that we have given to you. Thank you, friend. Thank you very much.